The British Museum in the Bloomsbury area of London is a public institution dedicated to human history, art and culture. Its permanent collection of some 8 million works is amongst the largest and most comprehensive in existence, having been widely collected during the era of the British Empire. It documents the story of human culture from its beginnings to the present. It was the first public national museum in the world. Here I present the top 10 must-see objects in the British Museum. This could be covered in 1 hour tour of the museum. This will also give you a glimpse of the ancient civilizations around the world. This one is Rosetta Stone, also called Rashida's Stone. This is the most popular exhibit in the museum. The Rosetta Stone carries an inscription in different languages, which helped decipher the ancient Egyptian hieroglyphic script. It is the only surviving fragment of a larger stone slab recording a decree from 196 BC. At the top of the decree was written in hieroglyphs the traditional script of Egyptian monuments, then already 3000 years old. In the middle, the same decree was written in Demotic, the everyday script of literate Egyptians, and at the bottom, in Greek, the language used by the government. This coffin is from the very popular section of the British Museum, the Egyptian Gallery. This gallery has all details about mummification, magic, and rituals of the ancient Egyptians. They include mummies, coffins, masks, portraits, and other items designed to be buried with the deceased. The significance of death and afterlife to ancient Egyptians meant very complex funeral preparations and rites, thought to be needed to ensure a smoother transition of the individual from earthly existence to immortality. To ensure a successful afterlife for the dead through mummification, most internal organs were removed and preserved in distinctive jars. The brain was also removed, but not preserved, and the rest of the body was dried with natural salt, treated with oils and resins, and tightly wrapped up in bandages and placed in coffins like the one you see here. This is the basalt statue known as Hoyo Hakananai. It probably means stolen or a hidden friend. This is derived from the eastern island in Chile in the South Pacific. It's thought to be from AD 1000 to 1200. This statue represents an ancient ancestral figure, possibly displayed in the open air. It later moved into a stone house at Orongo, the center of the Birdman cult. Low relief designs carved on the back are associated with this cult of Orongo. The statue seems to have been used in both contexts to express ideas about leadership and authority. The Parthenon sculptures were acquired by the British Museum, purchased from Thomas Bruce, the 7th Earl of Elgin, in 1816. Since then, they have been a permanent collection of the museum and very treasured. The Parthenon was built as a temple dedicated to the goddess Athena. It was the centerpiece of an ambitious building project on the Acropolis of Athens. The temple's great size and lavish use of the white marble was intended to show off the city's power and wealth at the height of its empire. The word Parthenos means maiden or a virgin unmarried woman. The temple was decorated with sculptures representing scenes from mythology and cult, while inside the building stood a colossal image of Athene Athena Parthenos, constructed of gold and ivory. The temple was very richly decorated with sculptures, all carefully designed by the famous artist of the day, Phidias, which took until 432 BC to complete. Ever since the Parthenon sculptures have arrived in London and have been installed in the British Museum, they have been a matter of controversy. It's been told that a formal request for the permanent return to Greece of all the Parthenon sculptures in the museum's collection was first made in 1983. There have been various meetings and discussions since then. Media coverage has referred that the Greek government requested to borrow the sculptures back, but a loan request has never been made so far. Assyrian lion hunt reliefs. In Assyria, lion hunting was a mark of kingly prowess, and many Assyrian alabaster panels in the museum tell the tale of King Ashurbanipal's exploits. Discovered in 1853 by the Assyrian archaeologist Hammud Rassam, the stunning depictions are eerily realistic. And while they may be an animal activist's nightmare, there is no denying the superb craftsmanship in these carvings. This one is the Portland vase. It is made of cameo glass. It's thought to have probably come from Rome. It dates back to 15 before Christ to AD 25. The Portland vase is one of the finest surviving pieces of Roman glass and is named after the Dukes of Portland, who owned it from 1785 to 1945. It's made of cameo glass. It's a technique in which vessels and plaques, sometimes free-blown, sometimes cast, are created with two layers of glass. The outer layer, usually white, is carved away from the underlying darker layer, which is usually blue, to create decorative scenes and patterns. The mask. This mask is usually identified with Idea, the mother of Oba, Esigi, who established the special place of the Queen Mother in Benin society in Nigeria in the 16th century. This mask is made to be carved from ivory, iron, and copper wire. It probably was worn around the neck, suspended from the loops at either side. This one is the Oxus treasure. The Oxus treasure is one of the largest collections of Achaemenid gold and silver objects. It was found in the 19th century at the site of Takht-i-Kuwat, close to the river Oxus, which in the modern days is called Amu Darya, on the border of Afghanistan and Tajikistan. This region was part of Achaemenid province of Bactria. It is mentioned as a source of gold in a building inscription of Darius the Great from Susa. This region, even to date, continues to be exploited for its gold. This large collection of gold and silver includes jewelry, model chariots, dedicatory plaques, and coins. Some pieces were locally made, but others probably came from elsewhere in the Persian Empire. All the objects date from about 5th to 4th centuries BC. Many have been chopped into fragments, or their colorful inlays have been removed. This damage was done either when the pieces were first hoarded, probably as bullion, or when they were discovered in the 19th century. This is the all-famous samurai armor and helmet. The armor is a collection of different pieces made between 1500 and 1800. The small metal plates are tied with silk and protect against arrows. In the 1500s, the Portuguese brought guns to Japan, and a thick bulletproof metal breastplate has been added since then. A grimacing metal mask and horns on the helmet still instill fear. This is made from metal, lacquer, leather, and textile. The Lewis chessmen. This is a large group of chess pieces carved in walrus ivory and whalebone sometime during the 12th century. The pieces have been variously attributed to Icelandic, English, Scottish, and Norse craftsmen. Current thinking is that they were made in Norway and were hidden by a merchant en route to trade them in Ireland. Fans of Harry Potter films should find them very familiar as they made an appearance in Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. They are the largest collection of objects for leisure use from the period ever found. At the moment, 82 of the 93 pieces are in the British Museum and 11 are in the National Museum of Scotland in Edinburgh. These chessmen pieces were found buried in the Isle of Lewis in the Outer Hebrides in 1831.